Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Holy smokas. Okay, one of Joe Biden's top advisors, Dr. Michael Osterholm, just suggested locking down the United States again for 4 to 6 weeks. Let me give you details on this, and I gotta give these prefaces now. I'm gonna be as neutral as possible. I'm not trying to play politics here. I just want to give you the news because I think it matters to our money and our safety and well-being. Okay, so politics aside, this is a finance channel. Okay, let's get into this because this affects stocks and real estate and everything. All right, so there's one thing that we can agree on beyond the fact that we just want to know what helps us with our money. And then that's that we should get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and 3 free stocks with Webull when we deposit $100 via the link down below. 3 free stocks worth up to $1,600. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. So this is what Dr. Michael Osterholm said. He said, first, this country is heading towards COVID hell. Those were his words. He said shutting down businesses and paying people for lost wages for 4 to 6 weeks would get us back to a place of being able to control this pandemic. Except I don't know where he's been the last 8 months, but apparently in this country, we're really good at shutting things down and then not paying people for the right amount of time. But we'll leave that debate for the next Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi sitting in a tree video. Instead, he goes on to say that he believes the darkest days are between now and the spring. He says we have a perfect storm coming as cases are rising and pandemic fatigue is at all-time highs. In fact, 1/3 of the country, he said, believes that COVID is a hoax, and this will be compounded by the winter. You have a recipe for disaster, in other words. He goes on to say that we could easily hit 200,000 cases per day, and hospitalizations are already beginning to hit overcapacity. Osterholm says that case fatality rates for COVID are only so low because we locked down the first time, made room in hospitals, got better at treating patients, gave them better drugs like dexamethasone and other treatments like therapeutics to try to reduce fatality. However, all of that specialized care goes out the window when you turn into a country like France, where they're running articles about how one hospital has 15 COVID patients on gurneys in the hallways of the hospitals, and they don't even have places to put them, let alone give them the proper treatment or care. Osterholm says when we have room in hospitals, yeah, we can have a low fatality rate. But he says as COVID cases continue to surge, hospitalizations go up, he says you can expect the quality of care to go down and fatality rates to go up substantially. He recommends stimulus that would cover people's wages and business income, but again, Congress. But he thinks a 4 to 6 week shutdown is what's going to be necessary. Now, who is this person again? So he is a member of Joe Biden's newly appointed 12-member coronavirus task force. He's on that advisory board that Biden mentioned on Monday. Now, the last time I talked about Biden's advisory board on Saturday, just to try to give us a preview as to what was potentially to come, I got like 30% dislikes. And again, maybe I wasn't clear in that video, and I'm sorry. I'm just trying to report what are possible scenarios. I'm not trying to create fear. I'm just delivering what I'm seeing. And I spend all day, every day researching this stuff just to give you these short 8 to 10 minute updates. All right. On a vaccine, Olsterholm actually casts doubt, by the way, on the 90% efficacy of the vaccine. He goes, hey, well, what does 90% mean? We don't know what 90% means. Does it mean that 90% of people have fewer symptoms? Does it mean that 90% of people who are likely to go into a hospital don't? Does it mean that 90% of people are immune to COVID? And it kind of makes you scratch your head. Like, that's kind of a good point. Like, Pfizer didn't exactly say what they meant. They just said it was over more than 90% effective. So I did a little bit more research on obviously all of these things that are going on. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, just to sort of project as to what we could be expecting here, is what Harvard graduate and now professor of epidemiology at the University of the University of Washington said. This is Dr. Trevor Bedford. And he says that there is a 22-day delay between cases and deaths. And so basically right now, the deaths that we're seeing are kind of deaths that we would expect to see as when we're around 55 to 60,000 cases a day. Well, right now we are more than double that. So if we multiply the cases today of about 139,000 by 1.7% for deaths, we will easily exceed 2,000 deaths per day from COVID within the next 3 weeks, making December and January likely very, 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 very ugly. Now, going back to Olsterholm, he says that this is going to get much worse and, quote, people don't even realize it yet. He says people are going to wish we could go back to the days of having 100,000 cases. That right now is just the beginning. This also follows what the German health minister said today. He said that the second wave is going to be way worse, and we'll see if our lockdowns work within the next 2 weeks. But it's too early to tell if our lockdowns are even working in Germany right now. So keep this in mind. This weekend, I went through names of people who might be on the COVID task force for Biden before I deleted that video because the hate was so high on it. Like, I lost subscribers like every second on that. It was apparently bad. So like, I felt like crap all weekend because of that, okay? And all I was trying to say, like here I am making another video about this, but I'm trying to be extremely neutral here and careful, okay? But in that video, I said, hey, this person's on the board, this person's on the board, or this person's gonna be on the board. And I went through these people individually and how they're recommending lockdowns. I didn't even mention this Osterholm guy. This Osterholm guy is yet another person talking about lockdowns. So out of all the people on this 12-member board, we've got at least 3 pushing for lockdowns so far that have vocalized it. We don't even know what the other people exactly think about lockdowns yet, but the ones that we do know stuff about regarding lockdowns, they're all like, yeah, no, we gotta lock down. So that's not so great news, right? But then we also do have more news. This is on the better side, okay? On the better side, as we get through this winter period, obviously we know that Pfizer's vaccine has a lot of excitement around it. Dr. Fauci spoke on this morning, and he said what's great about the Pfizer vaccine is that Moderna's vaccine is made in a similar way. Moderna's vaccine is also an mRNA vaccine or a messenger RNA vaccine, and this is the same technology that Pfizer uses. So if Pfizer's drug ends up being 90% effective, then we could see that same sort of efficacy in Moderna's vaccine, or at least that's what we would expect to see, although who knows, that could end up disappointing. Now, because of these comments, Moderna stock did shoot up 8%, about 8.4% today. Now, on dosages, though, so kind of going from bad news to good news and then kind of taking away a little bit of the good news again. Remember, when we hear that Pfizer says they're going to do 50 million doses by the end of the year, you have to divide that number by 2. Because you have to take 2 doses to be inoculated. So that means we only really have enough doses by the end of the year via Pfizer to vaccinate up to 25 million people. It's kind of a drop in the bucket, but at least it's something. In 2021, by the end of 2021, Pfizer believes they can get out 1.3 billion doses, so divide by 2. And then the good news would be if Moderna comes along, well then you can say that, all right, we don't have to divide by 2 anymore because now Moderna is also producing potentially as many as 1 billion doses next year and 20 million by the end of this year. So getting not just one vaccine, but multiple approved vaccines would be really, really good. But then again, keep in mind as well, only about 40% of Americans are going to take this vaccine when it comes out per recent polling. So some things to keep an eye on. So there's the update. There's the absolute latest that we've got as of a Wednesday afternoon on November 11th. I'll probably make a stock video talking about the potential implications for all of this and how we might want to invest over the next few months because buckle up, you know, the next few months could be very, very interesting for stocks, at least until we start getting to the end of the movie, so to speak, where the vaccines start getting distributed and everybody gets them, if they want them. Anyway, there you have the update on COVID and what the heck it was just said. And folks, if you like this, please consider sharing it, consider subscribing, get your life insurance, your 3 free stocks, and of course, feel free to email me for a bundle coupon at kevin@meetkevin.com for the courses linked down below. We've got the best coupon code I've ever had on the channel for those courses. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.